Good evening, my dear friends. This is Nagalingam, the founder and head coach of Nikhil Foundation. Today we are going to see incidental motions, one of the meeting procedures with regard to successfully conducting a meeting. I am, as I already told you, the head coach and the founder of Nikhil Foundation. So I am representing Nikhil Foundation, which empowers underprivileged school students. In fact, we have nearly empowered 2 lakh school children. The first lesson starts from I want to grow, I must grow, I will grow. The expectation is they should say, I know, I can, and I will. And they should go towards real empowerment, towards excellence in every field, so that they will strive hard to get universal peace through India. That is our expectation. So to empower the fellow individual or the people at large, this attempt is made to make them thorough with meeting procedures. Today, we see the incidental motions. First of all, before seeing any type of motions, whether it is incidental or main motion or privileged motions or subsidiary motions or miscellaneous motions, let us understand the characteristics. Any motion you have to analyze with these 6 questions. Whether if somebody is on the floor, you can intervene and speak, or you interfere the speaker. And whether your proposal needs a second, or somebody has to second your proposal. Whether your proposal can be debated, whether it can be amended, whether it can be reconsidered, and what type of voting is needed, whether it is simple majority or 2/3 voting. Those are the 6 questions. You have to be thorough with any motion for that matter. So we are seeing 6 questions. Is it in order when another has the floor? Is a second required? Is the motion debatable? What is the motion amendable? What vote required for adoption? Can the motion be reconsidered? These are the characteristics to be looked for any type of motion. So we'll go to incidental motion now. Here you see ice cream. I just compare taking ice cream, a dessert, to incidental motions. So whenever you take this dessert, you will remember the incidental motions. Suppose there is a motion under discussion. You find a violation of rules or the procedures. Do you have any option to point out that violation, or to remove that violation, or to get rid of that violation? Number 1 question. Number 2, suppose by that particular proposal, or by that particular motion, or by that particular idea, will there be friction in the functioning of the organization? Allowing to discuss, will it create a problem? Whatever option is available for you. You do not want a particular proposal to be discussed by the forum. Can it be stopped? And some more questions. Your governing board meeting is going on and there was an important discussion. You want the non-members to go out of the meeting while discussion goes on. Is there any option? And you want to bring in a motion, but you are not very clear about the rules and procedures. Can you ask for clarification? Is it possible in a meeting? There is an important discussion going on. You want certain details. Is there any possibility of getting such details to take a decision on that particular issue? And there was voice vote announced, but you are not clear. How many said yes and how many said no? You feel that there is a confusion. Any option available to check that? Now we'll go to the incidental motions one by one. They arise incidentally out of a pending question and must be decided before any other business is taken up. Mostly it is from the procedures. It is not from the idea or the proposal or the motion. Rather, it is pertaining to the procedure of the house, related to the business of the house or its actions. And there is no special rank among themselves. We have already seen privilege motions. There is a hierarchy. First, fix the time of next meeting. Then the last one, call for orders of the day. there is a strict hierarchy. The preference should be given in that order only. But here, among incident motions, there is no such priority, no such special rank among themselves. Incidental motions, what are they? If you want to raise a point of order, it comes under incidental motion. If you want to withdraw the proposal given by you, incidental motion. If you want to object to consider a particular proposal, a particular idea, a particular motion, then you can bring in object to consideration. And you want to decide a particular issue within less amount of time, and you consider certain without violating certain rules, you can't do it. Then you can bring in suspend the rules. And suppose the decision you feel that there is a mistake in the decision of the chairman, you can appeal from the chair's decision. And if you have got any doubt, you can raise a point of parliamentary inquiry. And if you want certain details, you can move point of information. And there is division and a roll call. These are the 9 incidental motions available for a meeting procedure. Point of order, withdraw motion, object to consideration, suspend rules, appeal from chair's decision, point of parliamentary inquiry, point of information, division, and roll call. Let us see one by one. What is point of order? Suppose you find a violation of rules and regulations, but the chair is not correcting it, either by oversight or any otherwise. Any member can make this motion. The chair may need to check up the rules or the bylaws. Suppose he is not very thorough with, he can even refer to the parliamentarians available and then come out with his decision of point of order. Generally, there is a tendency that by most of the presidents or chairmen, if somebody claims a point of order, there is a rule that your point of order is out of order. That should not be actually. Your point is well taken, your point is not taken. That should be the reply by the chairman. But most of the meetings, I find the chairman has got a flair of telling your point of order is out of order. That should not be actually. And what are the characteristics? We just saw 6 questions. We have to evaluate any motion. Here in a point of order, can you intervene as speaker? Definitely you can intervene or interfere a speaker. Whether your proposal has to be seconded, not necessary. Point of order need not be seconded, and it cannot be debated. It cannot be amended. It cannot be reconsidered, and no vote, no question of voting. The chair decides point of order. Suppose it decides wrongly, you can appeal against the decision of the chair. And the next motion is withdraw motion. Suppose you are proposing an idea before the house, but later you feel that that cannot be a proper proposal, or you want to modify that proposal, that whether you can withdraw that before the chair restates the particular issue. We have seen it in the 7 steps of parliamentary procedure. After the proposal and after the seconding, the chair will restate for the benefit of the house. If the chair has not restated, you can very well withdraw your proposal or you can modify your proposal. But suppose the chair has stated, then you cannot do it on your own. Rather, you have to request the house, you request the permission of the house to withdraw it. That is possible, right? Until a motion is stated by chair, it is the property of the mover who can withdraw or modify it without asking the consent of anyone. Once it is moved, the maker must request the assembly's permission to withdraw or modify his own motion, right? It may be made while incidental or subsidiary motions are pending. You might have moved your proposal and there may be incidental or subsidiary motions are pending in that. It is not a problem. Once you withdraw the motion, all these things will deem to be withdrawn, right? And let us see what are the characteristics. One, when you want to bring in the withdraw motion, you cannot interfere as speaker. There is no question of intervening and need not be seconded, in fact, and it cannot be debated, it cannot be amended, but it can be reconsidered if the voting is in the negative. Suppose it has become the property of the house and you request for the assembly's permission to withdraw it and the voting is in the negative, they don't accept, then this can be reconsidered and the motion may be processed accordingly. Despite you want to withdraw it, it will be processed. Simple majority is needed for voting, right? The next motion is object to consideration. Suppose you feel that this particular idea or the proposal or motion may be detrimental to the organization. Even discussing will create problems among yourselves. In that case, you can very well object to considering a particular proposal. The proposal is to enable the assembly to avoid a particular original main motion altogether when it believes it would be strongly undesirable for the motion even to came before the assembly. If you think a motion is such a bad idea that it should not be even discussed, then you can move this motion. The instant motion is in order until the chair states the motion and consideration begins. If the chair has restated the motion, then there is no question of object to consideration. Your proposal is out of order. Before the chair restates, you should propose your motion object to consideration. Then that will be in order. It yields to the motion to lay on the table. Suppose the motion can be laid on the table, then no problem. You need not object to consider it. So that yields to lay on table and to all privileged motions, like fix the date and time of next meeting, adjournment, recess, point of privilege, call for orders of the day, all privileged motions it yields, and to incidental motions arising out of the subject to consideration. Right? It can be applied to all the original motions, but it cannot be applied to amendments of bylaws or constitution or to reports of committees on subjects referred to them. In those cases, it cannot be applied. The object of this motion is to cut up the defects for which other motions are provided, but to enable the assembly to avoid altogether any question which it may deem irrelevant, unprofitable, or contentious. Only in that case, this may be considered. Right? No subsidiary motion can be applied to this particular motion. What are the characteristics? Whether you can intervene a speaker, definitely you can interfere a speaker. Whether somebody has to second your proposal, not necessary. Not at all. It need not be seconded. It cannot be debated. It cannot be amended. It can be reconsidered only when the main motion is not considered. And 2/3 votes are needed. Because you are preventing the members from discussing an issue, debating an issue. It is their right, right in the parliamentary procedure. But you want to avoid that. So that's why simple majority votes is not sufficient. 2/3 votes are needed for this motion to be passed. Next comes suspend the rules. Unless there is suspending certain rules, you cannot decide an issue speedily. In that case, you can go for suspension of rules, suspension of parliamentary procedure. It yields to all privileged motions and to the motion to lay on the table and to the incident motions arising out of it. What are the rules you can suspend it? Actually, rules that can be suspended with the 2/3 majority voters, rules of order and special rules of order. These rules are related to parliamentary procedure. Rules that cannot be suspended even with unanimous, not only 2/3, even with unanimous consent, you cannot suspend certain rules. What are they? Bylaws, constitution, federal, state, local law, fundamental principle of parliament law. What is the fundamental principles of parliament law? Rule that allows one question at a time, that cannot be suspended. A rule that allows only members to vote when present in a legal meeting, that cannot be suspended. Rule protecting absentees or basic rights of the individual members, that cannot be suspended. And rule requiring the presence of a quorum to take important decisions, it cannot be again suspended. Rule requiring a previous notice, you cannot take shelter and suspend the rules by not issuing a previous notice. The rule requiring election officers by a secret ballot, that cannot be suspended. And rule allowing members to attend meetings, make motions, speak in debate or vote, those things cannot be suspended. Incidental motion, suspend the rules. What are the characteristics? Whether you can interfere a speaker, suspend the rules, you cannot interfere the speaker. Has to be seconded. Somebody has to second your proposal of suspending the rules. It cannot be debated, it cannot be amended, it cannot be reconsidered, but the votes, 2/3 votes are needed to suspend the rules. Incidental motion, appeal from discharges. Suppose you find the decision of the chair contains mistakes, you want to rectify it, then you can appeal from the chair's decision. if there are mistakes, involves a ruling on a matter of parliamentary procedure, any two members can require, because you need a second there, any two members can require that the ruling be decided by the membership through the process called appeal. An appeal can be made by from any decision of the chair, but it can be made only at the time of ruling is given by the chair. Suppose subsequent process has taken place, subsequent business has been taken into consideration, then it is not in order. You cannot file an appeal. If any debate or business has intervened, it is too late to make an appeal. An appeal takes precedence over any question pending at the time the chair makes a ruling from which the appeal is made. I'm sorry. What are the characteristics of appeal from chair's decision? Whether you can interfere a speaker, yes, definitely you can interfere. But two members needed, I said already. Yes, somebody has to second your proposal. It can be debated, except in the case of orders of the day and point of order. Other things you can be debated. I'm sorry. It cannot be amended. It can be reconsidered. Mere tie is enough. Once you appeal against the chair's decision, the chair can ask the assembly, is this the judgment of the assembly? They can put to vote that particular question. If the votes are tied 50-50, even then the chair's previous decision is upheld. Need not to get simple majority. Even the case of tie, the chair's decision is upheld. And point of parliamentary entry. Suppose you want to bring in a proposal, but you are not very thorough with the rules and regulations. Is there any option available for you? Yes, definitely an option available. You can request the chair to help you in this regard. Even if the chair doesn't know, he can seek the help of the parliamentarian available and he'll help you. A parliamentary is a question directed to the presiding officer to obtain information on a matter of parliamentary law or the rules of the organization being on the business at hand. It is the chair's duty to answer such questions when it may assist a member to make an appropriate motion, raise a point of order, or understand the parliamentary situation, or to the effect of a motion. Even not to embarrass the chair by raising a point of order, people may go take shelter in the point of parliamentary inquiry. In a polished way, they can put up the issue to the chair. Instead of bringing a point of order, they'll ask point of parliamentary inquiry. By that, the chair will understand, okay. He will be guided in that way also. This motion is used to circumvent point of order also. It is being used by some of the members. And point of parliament inquiry characteristics. Whether you can interfere a speaker, yes, you can interfere the speaker. You need not be seconded. It cannot be debated, cannot be amended, cannot be reconsidered, and there is no voting. Only the chair decides, and the chair will be answering you, right? What is the next incidental motion? Point of information. Whenever the process is going on, discussion is going on, debate is going on, but you need certain details to take either this side or that side. You are expecting some details from the chair or from the house. For that, this motion comes to your help. You can ask the chair point of information. Your point of information is a request to the chair or through the chair. You cannot straight away ask some other member. It is only all questions are putting towards the chair only. You cannot ask your fellow member in the house. So you can route it through the chair. If at all you want any information from any other member, any other officer or member for information relevant to the business at hand, but not related to parliamentary procedure. This motion takes precedence over any motion with whose purpose it is connected and can also be made at any time when no question is pending. A motion on a request for information that is pending yields to all privileged motions and to other incidental motions. Right. No subsidiary motion can be applied to point of information. What are the subsidiary motions that we will see in the coming days? And the incident motion, point of information, the characteristics, the 6 questions. Whether you can intervene a speaker. Yes, definitely you can intervene a speaker. Whether you need to be seconded, not necessarily. You need not be seconded. And this motion cannot be debated. It cannot be amended. It cannot be reconsidered. And there is no voting. Only the chairman decides point of information. Incident motion, division of the house. What purpose this particular motion is being used? Suppose there is a voting, voice voting. and there are so many number of yes and so many number of no's. So the motion is carried. Sufficient number of yes is there. So motion is carried. That is the announcement by the chairman. But you are getting confused. You are not clear about the number of persons who voted for the motion. So you may raise and ask division of the house or simply division. The chair will order for division of the house, either to stand aside or he will divide the entire house itself. Whenever a member doubts the result of a voice vote, right, or a vote by show of hands, either because the result appears close or because he doubts the representative number of the members present have voted, he can call for the division of the assembly, thereby requiring a vote to be taken again by raising this call, or motion is made by saying, I call for a division, or simply by calling division. But these are the only option available. You can even go for vote by roll call, that we'll see after this. It does not yield to any motion. It can be applied to any motion on which the assembly is called upon to vote by voice. In any motion, if voting is announced, you can go for it. No substitute motion can be applied to it, right? What are the characteristics? Whether you can interfere a speaker. Yes, you can interfere the speaker. Whether it has to be seconded, need not be seconded. When you call for the division, need not be seconded. It cannot be debated, cannot be amended, cannot be reconsidered. No voting. When you raise for division, there is no question of voting, but the chair will go towards dividing the house. I said there is one other option called roll call. A member can move by voting by roll call regarding a pending question. I'm not clear about the decision, so I want roll call. He can ask for each member will be called and his vote will be registered by roll call, and this is called ayes and nays. Even this option can be availed by a member of the house if he is not clear with the decision of the chair. And what are the characteristics? You can interfere as speaker. Same applicable to division of the house. Need not be seconded, cannot be debated, cannot be amended. Simple majority is needed for voting. But roll call, there is a vote involved. For division of the house, no vote is involved. But roll call, voting is involved. Now you see the chart for all the 9 motions, whether it has to be seconded, whether it may be amended. In fact, all the 9 motions cannot be amended. All the 9 motions cannot be debated. With regard to interruption of speakers, yes, you can interrupt except suspension of rules and withdraw a motion. Only 2 things you cannot intervene the speaker. Otherwise, all the other 7 motions you can intervene the speakers. With regard to suspend the rules and object to consideration, 2/3 majority is needed. For point of order, point of information, point of parliamentary inquiry, no voting is there. Even division of the house is also no voting is there. Hope you are little acclimated with the procedure called incidental motions. It is one of the meeting procedures, very important to take decision on a main motion. So once again, thank you very much, and we will be seeing subsidiary motion in the coming days. So friends, thank you very much for your patient hearing.